Hello everyone, it's time for another Movie Reviews 101 weekly update. First up we have Transcendence. This was number 2 on my most anticipated films list of the year, and it really follows the idea of a man getting killed and his mind being put into a computer and eventually trying to take over. It's a very, very intelligent film, but it's very, very slow as well. This is Christopher Nolan's director of photography, so you know you're going to get something looking very pretty as well. It's very thought out, it works if you pay attention. I give this one a 79%. Next up we have Crawl Space. Crawl Space follows a special forces team as they enter an Australian top secret underground compound where they end up getting chased by some form of monsters and creations. Now this one isn't really the best. I really didn't enjoy it. The special effects, again, I always appreciate. They're more practical effects from what I remember, and they all work quite well, but the characters are boring, the story is predictable. I only gave this a very poor 25%. Next up is Time Cop, the Jean-Claude Van Damme film. Now this one follows Jean-Claude Van Damme as a time cop who goes forward and backwards in time to stop other time travellers from changing the past. Now this is very put together really well, but he ends up finding a conspiracy that's going on, and he has to try and stop this conspiracy from taking over. It's Jean-Claude Van Damme. You're just going to get action. The story actually though is intelligent. I think you should give it a go. It's one of the most underrated action movies of the 90s. I gave this one 79%. Next up is Locke, the Tom Hardy film, where he has to go on a car journey and you follow him the whole car journey. He's done something that is going to change his life forever. You don't know what, you don't know why. As soon as it starts unfolding, you realise it's actually very real, meaningful things that are going on. It is not some silly over-the-top crime. He's just done one thing wrong that anybody could have done, and he's trying to make it right, but he's put everything at risk for it. It's a truly thrilling film. I gave this one an 87%. Next up I'm going to pick a silly little movie called Scooby-Doo's Pirates Ahoy. I am a huge Scooby-Doo fan. I will watch all of the animated films. I don't care. I enjoyed and always have watched Scooby-Doo. This one sees the gang get taken on a mystery weekend cruise, and they solve all the mysteries within a day, ruining it for everyone else. But when a real mystery where some pirates come and attack comes aboard, they have to solve a real mystery and save everybody on board. You know what you're going to get. It's a good little film, it's fun, it's simple. It's just like watching any of the Scooby-Doo things. Give it a 70%. Most of them will get the same. Next up I went for a Cameron Diaz weekend. First up we had The Box. This is done by Richard Kelly, the guy behind Donnie Darko. You know what that meant. It's going to be smart to an extent. This one, The Box, follows a couple who get given a box. They get told if they press the button they'll get $1 million, but if they press the button, someone somewhere in the world that they have never met or never will know will die. Will you press the button? That's the question. We also see the after effects of what happens afterwards and why, and they should do it. It's very, very intelligent. It plays to a lot of conspiracy theories. People looked at this after Southland Tales and thought, no, I'm not going to bother. Give this one a go, you'll be rewarded. This is an 85%. Part 2 of my Cameron Diaz weekend, I went with The Green Hornet. Yes, it's not Cameron Diaz as the star, but she plays the solid supporting act. We get to see a playboy take over from his father to run a newspaper, and then decides to start fighting crime on the side with his new acquired friend Kato. He ends up getting in too deep, but he ends up trying to change the city for the better. It works. It's simple. It's a reimagination of a TV show, and Seth Rogen is quite funny in it without being too stupid. I give this one a 70%. Next up is my top 5. This week I picked David Fincher movies. He's done some greats, but there is one notable omission because I found this one very boring, and that is The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. First up at number 5 is Zodiac, just following the simple serial killer that nobody ever found in his mind games with a journalist. Very good, and it should be given a go. Next up, Panic Room, about a mother and daughter who get stuck in their panic room when a group of burglars enter their house. The burglars want what's in the panic room. It's one of the most thrilling films you'll see from the early noughties. Next up is The Game. The Game is where Michael Douglas' birthday is coming up, and everything starts falling apart. But is it just part of a game, or is it real? It plays both sides of the fence. You really don't know what's going to happen next until the very end. Very much a great film, this one. Number 2, surprisingly, I'm going to go with Fight Club. It's a classic. There's no other words to describe this film. It's just brilliant. So I'm going to go straight on to my number 1, which is Seven. Now, Seven is one of the most intense cop versus serial killer films you'll ever watch. It has plenty of twists, turns, and it will play to the grossest of horror fans as well. It's not for the light-hearted, but it's a must-watch. Trust me. What ones would you have picked for David Fincher? This week in the cinemas we have Sin City, A Dame to Kill, the follow-on from the original Sin City. We know what we're going to get here, a brilliant looking film. Next up we have Night Moves. I don't know too much about this one, and I can't remember what it's about, to be honest. I know it stars Jesse Eisenberg from Social Network. I believe, from what I remember, it was a sort of conspiracy-like film about joining a cult, or maybe not joining a cult. Next we have The $1 Million Arm. It's a Disney film with John Hamm. Next, If I Stay. This is the tearjerker that's going round. Everybody's saying it's one for the teens. I don't know too much. I know the basics. It's about a girl who has to decide between her love of music and her love of a rock star. It sounds like something you would end up having to see with your girlfriend or wife. So I'm okay. Next week I'll be doing my top 5 Wes Bentley movies. What would you pick on yours? And also my weekend is going to be a Michael Keaton weekend. I picked some surprises for this one. What ones would you pick for it? I've also ended up entering into helping another website called Horrorville, where we do versus top 5s. Check that one out, I'll leave the link in the bottom, and I am also going to introduce the verses on non-horror based films onto my site. If you have any good ideas, send me a message and we can see who wins. Thank you for watching. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, and follow the website. This is Darren from Movie Reviews 101. Thank you.